Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Idea Angel. I offer strategic advice on software and product development on my channel, and this is open for questions from my friends in the community. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or on YouTube, and you can post questions to me on topics related to e-commerce, software development, product development, and I shall be very happy to answer your questions in one of my videos. Okay, I have a question from Vikram Malik, and the question goes like this. So he's asked that, hey Akhil Gupta, I want to know how to articulate an e-commerce application with the use of best technology in terms of back-end, front-end, communication, etc. Today, it's a big challenge to choose right technology to get quick and stable result. So I think this is a very interesting question, and almost everybody has this question that which programming language they should use to develop something, or which database system should they use, or which design pattern should they use, should they build a monolith or should they use microservices, and then what are the associated challenges with some of these design patterns. Like for example, microservices come with a lot of tech debt. So should one be really doing microservices, for instance, or even this reactive design patterns or reactive programming and message driven systems, and so many frameworks available, for example, in the mobile application development space. So the thing is that at any point of time you need to decide, pick one which appeals the best to you and move on. And you move on with an understanding or an assumption that there may be failures, and then you need to figure out that how will you adapt yourself to those failures. So the way is, or my recommendation is that, first of all, don't assume that you will stick with one technology for a very long time. So work with this assumption that you build a piece of software with a certain programming language or a framework or a design pattern. You take it to a certain point, you achieve something out of it business wise, or any other commercial advantage that you wanted to extract from that piece of software. And at some point of time in future, when you will take a stock of what you have done, and at that time the technology landscape may have changed, new programming languages may have come, the framework that you have used in the past may have become obsolete. And at that stage, you need to really see that, is my technology adaptable to those new things? So basically, do you end up refactoring, or do you start rewriting the piece of code that you have written so far? Or what you do is that you say that, okay, whatever I have done so far, I will retain in this particular programming language that I have used. And the time I started writing this was supposedly the best, and now something else has come. So what I will do at least is that whatever incremental things I will develop using this new programming language or a new framework or a new say design pattern. I'll give you a very good reference point here, is that there's a company called ThoughtWorks. I've worked with this company, and what they do is that they maintain this tech radar. So this tech radar, what basically it does is that it gives you one view of what technologies you should start evaluating, what technologies you should hold and not yet invest, what technologies are something you should start adopting now. And looking at this radar, and this radar is actually built by collecting a lot of insights from market and of course their own expertise. So you can actually refer to this tech radar and see what are the emerging trends, what are the emerging technologies, programming languages, databases, and all those things. And then you can plan ahead also some of your future work, and say that, okay, some of your future modules or pieces of software that you're going to write, you will build using something which is available or mentioned in the radar. And I think that's where ThoughtWorks Tech Radar is very popular in the industry. It's almost like a I mean, de facto reference standard in a lot of digitally native organizations who are working with the very latest technology, tech stacks or programming languages or frameworks. So I think this is an amazing tool that you can use. Another advice, which is also it also comes from the capability point of view. So the point is that you need to invest in your people. So if, let's say, you have some Java developers today, and over a period of time, there are programming languages which basically reduce the amount of code that you write typically in a Java program. For example, Groovy. Now you have to upskill your own people, and then you have to work with them and set the expectation in such a manner that technology will change, and therefore they need to also upskill themselves with time. And with that expectation in mind, you should actually give them a window of opportunity where they can try out new things. And what you can also do is that you can actually lay down some of your own architectural traits which you want every piece of software to sort of qualify. So for example, you may say that, look, every piece of software should not have an error rate above a certain percentage or a factor, or you may say that it should be able to scale to this kind of a concurrency level, or it should be compatible with a certain CI/CD pipeline, and then it should be cloud native, or it should leverage some of the tech capabilities which most of the platform as service providers like AWS or GCP provides these days. So, based on those architectural traits, also you can lay down some standards and then leave the decision of programming language and frameworks open to the developers. I think that could be another way of doing this. But I think summary is that a lot of technological things are coming up in the market on a continuous basis, and I think TechRadar is something that you should definitely use. In addition to that, you should also subscribe to a lot of tech blogs where experienced people who actually experiment with a lot of new technologies only for the sake of experimentation and in some cases they actually share their experiences or doing something, and you can learn, and you can learn from their experiences, and then maybe try this out in some small prototype and see how it works, and does it really meet all those architectural traits that you have set out. And if it really meets, then I think you should not be bothered too much about whether it is Java or Golang or Python or some other programming language or some framework, like whether it's a Spring framework or an Angular framework, because ultimately, if you have to keep progressing and evolving yourself, you can't be stuck too long in these decision-making processes. So you need to just move on and just try to reduce this by at least following one direction. So for example, if you have taken this path of Java, then try to choose frameworks which are evolving around the same kind of a programming language or pattern, so that there is some affinity to that kind of a paradigm. Or if because that's object-oriented programming, or if you are using some sort of a functional programming style, then you basically choose your components across with that kind of a mindset. So that is one of the ways where you could actually reduce the sort of a diversity over a period of time. But factor in what is your shelf life, whether 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years, and accordingly you need to strategize that how frequently you will actually revisit this topic and see whether you want to adopt a new technology or you want to hold. I hope I am able to answer your question, and feel free to write back to me, and I will be very happy to answer more questions you may have. Hi friends, I hope you liked my video, and I'm sure that if you have watched my video till this point, you may already have some comments, suggestions, or ideas for me to make my videos better in future. So I will really appreciate if you can send your comments, put them below on my YouTube video, and give me ideas, give me suggestions on how I can make this more helpful for people like yourself or anybody else in your network. And I will definitely, work on all your comments and suggestions. And of course, questions are more than welcome. So if you have more questions on this topic or any other topic, please do send your questions. And if I am able to answer myself, I will try to answer. Otherwise, I will try to rope in someone else in my network who can answer these questions for you. And hopefully, we will try to address some of the concerns or questions or queries that you have in your mind. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please click on the bell icon and subscribe, so that whenever I post a new video, you get an alert and then you can watch my latest video. And thank you very much for staying with me so far, and I wish you all the best and stay in touch. Thank you.